Yo, what's going on guys, SpaceKong here. In this video we're going to be talking about the latest balance changes to the Elder Scrolls Online. So, in ZeniMax's latest stream, they talked about a lot of buffs and debuffs, and they also showed off the Warden's two remaining skill lines. But I'm not going to go into the skill lines on this video. We're just going to be talking about the balance changes and how they've compensated for the Templar being like reduced to shit, and now they've kind of given it a little something back. They could probably still do a little bit more, but it's a start for now. And as for Sorcerers, I know in the last patch notes they pretty much didn't get touched. They had a 0.2 second animation added to their Dark Deal ability, which didn't really make a difference anyway, as it's a fairly long channel anyway, so a 0.2 seconds isn't going to do much anyway, especially if you've got damage shields on. So, as you already know, the Templar Spear Shards was incredibly nerfed down to the point of no point even using it. And by that I mean they restored, instead of it being stamina, they changed it so it either recovers stamina or magicka based on the percentage of what's missing. So say if you had more magicka missing than stamina, it would give you that. But it didn't really make sense, because if you didn't have much stamina and you're a magicka build, even if you do say one roll dodge or something, then it's going to replenish all your stamina, because the percentage of that will be a lot higher than your maximum magicka. So that wouldn't really make sense. But what they've done is they've then changed it into whatever's your biggest pool. So if you had 40k stamina and 20k magicka, it would only restore stamina, which is good in a way, because it kind of gives DPS a chance to pick up the spear shards, because before it was only for tanks. You know, when you throw it out there, the tanks would get it to get their stamina back so they can maintain their blocking. But although it's going to be a little bit of a fight for the shards now, because a lot of people are going to be going for it. But that's not all. They changed it again, and I think it's for the better this time. So there's two morphs, as we already know. The Blazing Spear, what they're going to do is, well, first of all, they've taken away the stun. It no longer does any stun, which kind of sucks, but I can live with it. However, with the Blazing Spear morph, it does more damage, which is fine, because, you know, that's great that they put more damage to it. Okay, yeah, that's totally fine. So if you're doing a DPS, then yeah, you'll be doing more damage. Whereas the other one, the Luminous Shards, instead of it giving you just your maximum pool, so like I said before, if you have 40k stamina and 20k magicka, it would only give you stamina back. But now what it does is it gives you your primary resource and half the amount of your secondary resource. Now when I say half the amount, I don't mean half the amount of your maximum resource. I mean half the amount of what you would usually get for your primary resource. So say if your primary resource, it gives you a third of your resources back, then it would only give you a sixth of your secondary resources. And the reason they've done this is to give Templars upper hand again, because the thing which was good about Templars is the fact that they had blazing spears and yeah, and luminous shards, which was good. And then they kind of took that away, where you can get to a point where you don't even need a Templar anymore. You could just use the necrotic orbs, which also restore the max magicka or stamina, depending on what's the highest value. So Templars have the upper hand once again, because the necrotic orb can only give you one resource, whereas now the luminous shards gives you your primary resource, and half the amount of your primary resource that you get will be given to your secondary resource, which is awesome. So they're kind of giving some Templars some love, and at this point it's looking good again, because if they're going to be making these changes, and it's still very early on, we're still in the public test server, so things are still getting tested, so it can only go up from here, right? I doubt they're going to nerf the Templar anymore, especially after like all the noise that everyone's been making about that, and people have been quitting Elder Scrolls, and yeah. So at least they're giving us a little something, and hopefully they'll give us some more later on down the line. But like I said before, I really doubt they're going to do that. But they surprised me this time, so it could happen. Now, as you noticed before, the Sorcerer didn't get touched on the patch notes. I mean, yeah, they got the 0.2 second animation for Dark Deal, But now they've reduced their damage, well, their DPS, because a lot of mag sorcs used crystal frags, and that would give you a reduced cost and give you 20% more damage. Now you still get the reduced cost, but what they've done is they've given you a 10% increased damage, which, yeah, it does suck, but I can understand why they've done that, because obviously a lot of stamina players have been nerfed recently, and which means their damage is going to be a lot lower. And after that, the mag sorcs kind of took the place, because then they were now like the leading DPS. So yeah, they had overall more DPS than most other builds, so I can understand why they've done that. It doesn't mean that it's going to be a useless skill. I'm still going to use it, because yeah, it's pretty much going to give you a instant cast. It's going to cost what, 1,000 magicka or 1,500 magicka for an instant cast, and it gives you an extra 10%. So yeah, it's still going to be viable. However, yeah, the damage is going to be a little bit less, but not too much. It's just going to sort of smooth it out a bit to make him on a more even playing ground, which I'm totally fine with. I mean, first when I heard it, I thought, oh, this is going to suck. But then, you know, when you do the math, it's not too bad, you know. It's not going to be a complete nerf. I mean, to be honest, like, I play sorcerers quite a lot, and even I agree that, you know, they needed a little bit of a nerf, because they were a little bit overpowered after having pretty much stamina wiped from the game. But that's the latest news on the balance changes anyway, so don't forget to like this video, if you liked it, that is. If you didn't like it, then that's fine. But yeah, definitely smash that subscribe button if you want to see more content in the future. And apart from that, I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you next time. Peace!